Once upon a time, there was a man named Chijuki who married a quiet and brilliant woman named Norma. She was a top mechanical engineer in a big oil company in Lagos. Not many women became engineers, but Norma was different. Smart, confident, and respected by many. She graduated with first class from one of the best universities. People often talked about her achievements, even industry leaders. She never bragged, but her success was obvious. When she married Chijuki, people whispered she could have done better. He had dropped out of school and stayed home doing nothing. He had no dreams or ambition but knew how to charm hard-working women. He liked women who wouldn't challenge him, women who would hand over their money and be grateful just to be married. Norma was 42 and really wanted to get married. Even with all her success, love had been hard for her. Once, she even proposed to a man after one date and bought him a car, only for him to run off and marry her maid. That broke her heart. She had poured years into building her career, yet her love life was full of pain and shame. Her younger sisters, even the youngest, were married, and people made rude jokes about her still being single. So, when Chijuki came into her life, she was just happy that he stayed. He told her she was special and not intimidating. That was all it took. Soon, Norma fell hard. She showed him off to friends and family, even though they warned her she didn't care. She paid for the whole wedding herself. Chijuki just had to show up. Her mother smiled at the wedding but worried deep down. She had raised a lioness, and now she was marrying a fox in borrowed feathers. At first, the marriage looked sweet. Chijuki called her my queen, prayed over her meals, and acted like a perfect husband. But after 3 months, everything changed. Chijuki started controlling her money. He forced her to put her house and car in his name and threatened to leave if she didn't. Norma gave in. She didn't want to lose her marriage. At 42, she believed he had saved her from shame. She gave up everything: her salary, her voice, her self-respect, just to stay married. Even when he insulted or slapped her, she blamed herself. One day she got home, tired after doing her hair at the salon. Chijuki was with his friends. One of them joked that she looked like the man of the house and mocked Chijuki for not being in control, trying to prove himself. Chijuki suddenly slapped Norma and set her braids on fire with a lighter. She screamed and ran to put it out with water. Luckily, the fire didn't touch her scalp. Staring into the mirror, Norma realized how much of herself she had lost for this man. That moment woke her up. She came out and told Chijuki and his friends to leave her house. They laughed at her. Chijuki reminded her the house was in his name. But Norma calmly went inside, came out with an envelope, and held it high. "This is the real house deed, with my name, not yours," she said. The document he thought gave him ownership was actually a legal paper he signed unknowingly, giving up any claim to her properties. He was shocked. She revealed he couldn't even read what he signed because he was illiterate. The friends who mocked her now pitied him. Norma told them everything: how she'd frozen the bank accounts, how divorce papers were already sent, and even how she found out about his wife and 2 kids in the village. She had hired a private investigator after seeing a message on his phone from someone saved as church sister. But the message talked about the children missing their father. Within a week, she got full proof of his lies. He was already married with children and had done this to another woman before. She threw printed pictures and documents at him, exposing all his secrets. His friends started to leave one by one. He stood frozen, defeated. Then she made a phone call. "Yes, officer, he's ready." Minutes later, the police arrived. They had enough evidence to arrest him for financial abuse, identity fraud, and bigamy. As he was dragged away, he screamed, "I'm your husband!" But Norma replied coldly, "No, Chijuki, you were just a project. And your deadline has expired." She shut the door, not just the one behind her, but every emotional door that had made her believe she needed a man to be whole. That night she called her mother and said, "I'm coming home, Mama. I need rest." Her mother cried happy tears because her daughter had finally found peace. Norma sat in silence, healing. Her scalp still stung, but her heart was stronger. She smiled at her reflection, not because it was over, but because she had remembered who she truly was, a lioness, not a woman who should bow to a lazy man. She never let society pressure her again. She never shrunk herself to make others feel big. She wore her scars like medals and believed one day a real man would love her, not use her. Lesson: no woman should ever trade her dignity for the title Mrs. Marriage should never cost your peace, safety, or identity. It's better to be single and whole than married and broken. A successful woman is not too much. She just needs someone who isn't too little.